My favorite Disney movie is Pete's Dragon. I always loved that. I loved the remake, but the original is always a classic. You can't go wrong. It builds your spirits on a bad day.
Probably I'd have to pick, it's so hard to choose, but I'd probably have to pick Bambi as my favorite Disney movie because, again, of the humor. I remember, oh man, as like a 5-year-old watching the owl being really mad during springtime when all the birds are chirping and everything like that, and he like yells at the birds. The way that scene is put together, I remember laughing at it, rewinding it, laughing at it more, rewinding it, and watching it over and over to the point, no joke, I actually broke the VCR. I broke the tape because I rewound it so much that it all fell apart and came out. But that movie, and especially that scene, just fills me up with love and joy.
Having a favorite Disney film, it's impossible. but if I had to pick one, I would say The Lion King. I think that film is perfect, and I'm so excited that they're doing a live-action version of that next year. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah, I'll probably say my favorite Disney movie is Aladdin. Yeah, my favorite Disney movie is Aladdin. And then there's so many layers. It's like it's a love story. There's identity. There's this whole, the friendship between him and the genie. So you see this theme of like camaraderie, and even in that there's this they clash at first. You know what I mean? Because the genie has an expectation of what he thinks he's supposed to be doing for him. Aladdin has an expectation of who he thinks the genie is. And, in his quest to try to impress someone, you have that thing where your friend is like, oh yeah, I got your back. You know what I mean? If that's what you want to do, I got your back. But then he's also on the side telling him like, hey, if you just be yourself, like, you'll get what you want. So there's all these different layers in the movie, which I enjoy. I think that what's classic about that film is that those themes are still very true to people today.
Favorite Disney film has to be The Lion King, and I can't wait for the remake to come out. Just saw the first trailer, and I'm so excited. It's gonna be amazing, and it just the opening scene of the circle of life, just the big belt right at the beginning, it like latches you in there and you're in for a journey. So it's a great movie.
Okay, my favorite Disney film was The Lion King. I'm obsessed with that film and all that it represents. I think it's iconic, and yeah, it's been such a huge part of my life.
Well, I do love Snow White. That is my favorite Disney movie out of most of them, but I also really like Princess and the Frog too. I think that's really fun. I like a lot of the princess movies. Just anything with a princess in it, but mostly Snow White, and then I do like Princess and the Frog.